Welcome all sports fans and everyone across the nation. This is another episode of Uneducated Sports Talk. I'm your host, Carlos Clayton, and we're going to break down this week's college football playoffs rankings show reaction, you guys. We got a lot to talk about, man. One, I must say, this is, in my opinion, and I'm 36 years old. I've been watching college football for about, I don't know, 27, 28 years since I was like 8 or 9 years old, something like that. To me, this is the greatest all around season I've ever witnessed in college football, right? At its peak D1, obviously, it has been amazing from start to hasn't even finished yet. But I'm telling you, with the 12 team playoff bracket coming in here, with the NIL deals going crazy, with transfers going crazy, like it feels like we're all on an even playing field of sorts. Now, these reactions, some folks like it and a lot of folks hate it. I'm going to break down what I like, what I didn't like, and we'll get into it. But before I get started, please don't forget, if you love to see, hit that subscribe button. That's right, hit that subscribe button and come join UST Nation. Hit that like button for today's stream as well. So thank y'all for showing love and support. Without you guys, none of this is possible. But once again, hit that subscribe button. We're on our road to 3,000 subscribers, ladies and gentlemen. On the road to 3,000 subscribers. All right, let's get it, man. So we had a lot of craziness per usual. It's a week by week trial. And one thing I know for sure, after this week now, I know one thing is certain. There's only one team that has secured the playoff bag. Only one team, and that's Oregon. Oregon, the number one overall team, and they've been that team since the start of the rankings, and of course, since probably like week 5 of the college football season, they've been the number one team in the nation, and deservedly so. What I'm saying is, they can mess around. They have a bye week this week, but they can mess around the last week of the season and lose, which they're probably not, most likely. And they could also lose the Big Ten championship game, and they would still be in the playoffs. They're the only team that can say that right now from here on out. If they lose every game they play, they're the only team that will make the playoffs guaranteed. The rest of these jokers, from Texas all the way to BYU, you can't lose one game. Most of these teams, you can't lose one game. If you do, you're done. Oregon is the only team that can say we can lose the rest of these games until the playoffs and still make it. Which is week 12. This is amazing. This is amazing. Week 12 of the college football season. And we can say only one team out of a 12 team playoff is guaranteed a playoff spot. This is what college football wanted. This is what the committee wanted. Conversation, right? Yes, 12 teams are in the playoff field right now, but in reality, there's about 22 teams that have a shot at the playoffs. And we have never been able to say that, especially around week freaking 12. Of course, by this time, there's only maybe 6 or 7 teams by this time. If that, there's probably 3 or 4 teams, right, that make it into a two championship, right? Or there's probably 6 or 7 teams that makes it a four game championship, right? So yeah, or 4 game playoff, excuse me. So loving what I'm seeing right now. Let's break it down. Obviously, the big news for some strange reason is still on Indiana, right? But one thing I know for certain, and all these people can get mad all they want, but in reality, you have to win your games. Just win out and let the cards play. But before we get to Indiana, let's talk about Georgia, okay? Georgia, last week, they were out of it. They were done. And look, the one team I do feel bad for is the Georgia Bulldogs because they're arguably still the best team, all right, even on paper. And their 2 losses aren't bad losses. I see a number of teams, we'll get into that have bad losses that are ranked better than Georgia. Georgia's 2 losses. I mean, you're talking about Alabama and you're talking about Ole Miss, 2 teams that are also in the top 12 in the playoffs. And yeah, Georgia goes out and beats Texas, the best win of the season. They go into number 2, Texas, or number 3 if you want to look at the standings. Number three, Texas, and they go into their spot and beat them down. That's the best win of the season, and they did it fairly well. But you mean to tell me a Georgia team with the strength of schedule they have, right? The teams they face and the road they've been on, and for them to be 8-2 with that schedule and that many good wins, and they're 11, they snuck in, right? They were completely out last week, but now they snuck in. But that is the only team I have I feel bad for, right? The only team I feel bad for. The rest, I'm fine with what's going on. I'm fine. Georgia beats Tennessee. As you see, Tennessee is not here. Now, that lets me know, and let's keep it a buck 100. SEC is going to have a team they're going to cry about. Look, one of these SEC teams that's going to have two losses are not going to be in the playoffs. Boo the fudge cake who. Boo hoo. All this SEC bias is killing me. And before you get on me like, oh, you go talking down SEC, bro, I'm from Louisiana. I'm not a Tiger fan, no. Right? I am a fan of football itself. And I tell you, outside of Alabama and Georgia, the past decade and a half, those two teams have been running it. The rest of these jokers are just following their name brand, following Georgia's name brand, following Bama's fans. So you talk about Ole Miss, lost to Kentucky. Talk about Texas. They haven't played anybody yet. You know, talk about Tennessee, right? Come on, Bama. Bama, they lost to Vanderbilt. A horrible loss to Vanderbilt, right? You have to think outside the box if you are an SEC, if you're an SEC, what they call that, cheerleader. How about that, right? The SEC should have 9 teams in the 12-team playoff. No, no, no. We're not going to do that. One, I love how this playoff is formatted. I love it because it gives everyone a chance. It gives everyone a chance. I love the fact if you win your conference championship, you get an automatic bye and a top 4 seed. I love that. I really do. I freaking love that. Right? Same as in the NFL, where every division winner gets, a home playoff game per se. Right? I mean, there was a time when the Saints were 12-4 and had to face a Seattle Seahawks team that was 7-9. Remember that Marshawn Lynch big time run? Yeah, that was in Seattle, and Seattle was the NFC West champions at the time, and the Saints did not win their division, and that's why they had to go on the road. Is it unfair? Kind of, yeah, but that's just the way it is. That's the reality of today's game. That is the reality of today's college football. So when you see Miami at 3, Boise State at 4, we'll talk about them in just a moment, right? Why? Why those guys? Why? Well, look here. That's just the reality of it, man. Deal with it. Deal with it. All you have to do if you are an SEC team, just win. If you're anybody else, the main thing is just win. Now, let's get on to Indiana. The big old strength of schedule. And to some degree, I do agree with this. But if Indiana was beating these teams by 3, 7, 2, game-winning field goal, I could see the argument straight up. Right now, they're number 5 in the standings. They're number 7 in the rankings. But I could see people going crazy if they're beating teams, squeaking them out. No, they have been dominating teams. And before you start talking about, well, they haven't played anybody, I'm going to tell you right now, this is the one year I can say any team is beatable by any team in this format of the playoffs, right? Any of these teams can beat everybody else. What are you getting at? Nebraska, which was 5-1 at one time, and they look like a darling, right? Someone that can win in like 8 or 9 games and make some kind of noise. Well, they haven't shown that now, but that same Nebraska team during their slide met with Ohio State. Ohio State barely beat them, right? A win's a win, though. They got the dub. That same Nebraska team faced Indiana and got slaughtered. Got slaughtered. Indiana put up down that 50 on them boys, man. See what I'm saying? Indiana gets it. Yes, our strength of schedule, it sucks. But let us show you why we're good. Because we have been not only winning, but we've been dominating teams. Putting up 40 on a regular basis. Now, they played a very tough Michigan team, right? to standards. They're a tough Michigan team. They're not a good team, but they're a very tough team. And Indiana won that game 20-15. And I get it. Well, that should prove no. It doesn't prove anything. They still won against a formidable opponent, against a decent opponent. This isn't Charlotte. This isn't whatever. Nebraska, they beat the crap out of them. Ohio State barely beat Nebraska. So get that. And so I'm saying anyone can beat anyone. And guess what? 5 versus 7. We're going to find out this week. Ohio State, Indiana. That way everyone can just shut the hell up. If Indiana goes out and wins that game, we have chaos. And one thing we do love about this year is the chaos. I said it earlier. The only team that I know for a fact is in the playoffs right now is Oregon. Nobody else can say that. Boise State can't say that. They still have to win their conference, right? Boise could probably jump to maybe 11 or 10. That's about as far as they're going when it comes out to the standings. They're at 12 right now, but they're the fourth best conference champion, right? Above BYU, who's at 13 at the moment. Sorry, at 14, excuse me, at the moment. So that's why Boise State is ranked 4 in the playoffs. Boise State could lose their conference championship and get the boot because they're not going to go any further than, I believe, 9, right? I think 10 is like their ceiling when it comes to the standings. So Boise State, if they lose, they're out. But this is why I'm loving the playoffs. Who would have thought in a 12-team playoff, Boise State at week 12 would be the number 4 seed in the playoff bracket of a 12-team playoff? Think about that. All these teams now, it don't matter where you go now. It's telling you you don't have to be stuck in these 5 or 6 programs, the Bamas, the Georgias, the Ohio States, right, of the worlds to win a national championship or to go to a playoff and compete. Now you can go anywhere, right? Now you can go anywhere. That's what I'm talking about. You can go anywhere. You go to Boise State and say, you know what? Win our conference championship, we're in the playoffs, right? If we go undefeated per se. So that's what I'm talking about. I love it. I love it. We got about 22, 23, 24 teams that have a conversation of getting in there. Now, let's talk about the 2 things I don't like, right? Before I get into the things that I really do like. I don't like Miami at 8. I don't. I don't like Miami at 8, and I don't like Texas at 3. Let's talk about Miami first instead of 8 seed. About Miami, the Hurricanes. Dog, I'm sorry. Who has this team really beaten? And when they've won, it's about how you win. So we hear the committee say, oh, it's the eyeball test. We want to watch these guys. And I get it. That's why Indiana's at 5. That's why Penn State's at 4. I get that. Miami, what have you done? Even when you won, it's been by luck for most of the year. Virginia Tech, we ain't forgot about that. You referees, right? They lost to Georgia Tech. Come on, man. Like, I don't know that they have Cam Ward, who is in the Heisman conversation. Their offense is elite to a certain extent, but their defense is, as Bubba Dub would say, trash. Trash. Defense is trash, ladies and gentlemen, and they are the 8th seed. You mean to tell me, you mean to tell me that there are, I don't know, Tennessee's not better than Miami? Right? You mean to tell me that SMU, you can't bump them up? I don't get it. SMU's on losses to BYU. Miami, they've been playing on thin ice. They've been playing on thin ice, and the committee should know that. Now, if Miami says, screw it, just win, baby, win, just keep winning, and we're in. But I'm telling you, it's going to be a deadly road because whoever faces Miami in that ACC championship, whether it is Clemson or it is SMU, they're, in my opinion, the favorite to beat Miami. So Miami, look, you're only going to get most likely one ACC team and one Big 12 team. It just is what it is. The Big 10 and the SC is just too damn deep with too many decent teams, right? So if you're the ACC, tough pickings, man, tough pickings. Now, Texas, right? I felt bad for Georgia. I really do. Because Georgia went into Texas Stadium and beat the crap out of the Longhorns, right? the Longhorns. Who is your best win? Hello? Hello? Who? Vanderbilt? Oh, Vanderbilt. Oh, you serious? Vanderbilt is Texas's best win of the year, and they're the third best team in the nation. Number two in the playoff bracket. Wait a minute. Time out. Hold up. Texas has shown they haven't beaten any freaking body. They have not. They have not. Right? The one challenge they had from Georgia, they got the brakes beaten off of them. Now they will have another challenge next week when they go into Texas A&M, a team that we haven't even talked about, but a team that can also rally its way into the playoffs. But they got to win out and literally win out, like win the Big Ten, SEC championship and everything. So Texas A&M, a really good team at home, really good team at home. I like that. I like that. They're gonna face Texas at Texas A&M in the Aggie Fields Nation. It's gonna be crazy. But what if Texas lose that game? All right, we would say now their two biggest tests, they failed them both. They failed them both, right? Does that kick Texas out? 'Cause I'm telling y'all, one of these big name teams, Texas, Georgia, Alabama, I have a feeling, if you want to throw in Tennessee, whatever, I have a feeling one of those teams are going to be out. And right now, it is Tennessee that's out. Unfortunately, it is Tennessee. They're ranked number 10 in the standings, but right now they're out of the 12-team playoff because of the conference champion right now projected as BYU, who is currently at 14. And then we have, of course, Boise State currently at 12. So that's going to kick out pretty much 10, you know, and it's going to be very interesting. Texas A&M is right there. We also have Colorado. Colorado, in my opinion, is the favorite to win the Big 12, but currently they have BYU. It's only because of the rankings, though. It's only because of the rankings. Same thing as SMU, who has they're number one in the conference, but because of the rankings right now, Miami is projected as the 3 seed. But eventually, you think that Miami's going to take on probably SMU, probably Clemson. That's not even a guarantee because Miami could lose their last two games and not be in the ACC championship. So they have a lot to play for. But just like this conversation is all over the place that I'm having right now, that is what this playoff is. It is all over the place. And that's a good thing because it gets us talking about all sorts of scenarios, conferences, strength of schedule, head to head. It gets us all talking about that. And I love it. I freaking love it. I'm not going to lie. I love it. Um, so let's break down. I said I hate Texas. I hate Miami where they're at right now. I don't like their 3, and I guess Miami's 11, but whatever. Like they should be out of there as far as the top 5 in the standings. Texas hasn't beaten anybody, right? And Texas A&M, I hope they put them paws on Texas. I do. Or I hope that Texas actually wins and has a good game. Give me something to believe in. Miami, I'm talking to you as well. Give me something to believe in because right now I don't believe in Miami. I don't believe in Texas. I said Oregon is they're in the playoffs. They're in the playoffs. Notre Dame might have the worst single loss at home against Northern Illinois. They are still in it. Who have they really beaten? Well, they went into Texas A&M first game of the season. They won that. So that was at one point the biggest win of the season, and they had the biggest loss of the season in like 3 week span. So, if you are Notre Dame, you have to win out. Now you have a test against number 19 Army. I really think they beat the dog crap out of Army. But as far as chaos goes, I'm praying the Army gets the dub. Oh man, because chaos. Who doesn't want chaos? Notre Dame could ill afford any more losses. I guarantee you any loss or even a close win to Army, right? Could kind of teeter things. Now they have USC at the end. I really don't believe that USC, if they beat USC, it'll look. You win these two games, Notre Dame's in. That's all that matters. You're not going to have a conference championship, so there's no chance at getting a top four seed. Notre Dame doesn't care about that. They want to host a game. I know that. Notre Dame would love to host. If all you gotta do is beat Army, beat USC, but you people are hoping that, oh well, right now, because I'm seeing Notre Dame at 6. The worst place to be at right now, it is 10 and 11 and 12, right? 10, 11, 12, unless your Boise State at 12. But if you're any of these big names, the Tennessees, Texas A&M, hell, even SMU, right? If you do mess around and lose against Miami in the ACC championship, you could be out of there for real, right? You don't want to be in that 9, 10, 11 spot, because say Texas A&M will go into the SEC championship ranked number 14, but they win. That's an automatic spot for A&M. That means one less spot, one less at-large bid for one of those premier dominant SEC teams, right? I'm telling you, Tennessee might be the odd man out, and it'll be tough if they are. And yeah, but let's go on out to Ohio State. Sitting pretty. Sitting pretty. I get it. Look, Oregon or Ohio State. No matter what, I think the run, we are witnessing 1-5, which is basically going to be one is going to be either an SEC champion or the Big Ten champion. That's going to be one seed. And right now, currently, it's looking like it's going to be Ohio State. I mean, or Oregon. Oregon or Ohio State, either Texas or let's say if Georgia even gets in there, right? It feels like those are the four teams that can have the number one spot. But the number 5 spot is going to either the second best, the loser, excuse me, of the conference championship game in the Big Ten or the SEC. And right now, currently, it's going to Ohio State. But if you see the projection of what's going on, right? If you're number 1 seed, yeah, it's tough. You get the winner of 9 and 8, which currently could be Bama or Notre Dame, but it's neutral site, and you get to have a rest, a bye week. At the number 5 seed, which might be the best thing ever, if you're the 5 seed, brother, you might have an easier task than the 1 seed. You've got pretty much the lowest ranking conference champion, most likely, right now, currently stated at BYU. This could be where Colorado jumps in, and when it's all said and done, Colorado could be 12, Ohio State could be 5. I'm just saying, it could be like that, right? Or BYU or Boise comes down, or Colorado surpasses Boise maybe in some kind of fashion, and Boise becomes the 12 seed. But Ohio State will be at home facing a inferior opponent, and then you'll backdoor and go to the 4th champion, right? Which could be Boise State. You could have a title run of BYU, maybe Colorado, or even Arizona State if you're Ohio State, or Oregon, and then you backdoor and beat or play the number 4 seed, which is probably the 4th champion, Boise State. Or it could be, I don't know, it could be a Big 12 champion. I have no clue. It could be the ACC champion, right? And you look at the playing field, the Big 10 champion is that much better than the Big 12 or the ACC champion. So if you're the 5 seed, Ohio State, you're looking pretty right now. But you want to beat Indiana. Matter of fact, you have to beat Indiana. Because if you lose to Indiana, my God, the 5 seed and you'll drop down to maybe the 9 seed, 10 seed, right? Because if you're Ohio State, yeah, you beat Penn State and you lost to Oregon by 1. That's a decent resume. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. But if you lose to Indiana, how far does Ohio State drop? Because now that 5 seed, which was now you look at Indiana versus Oregon in the Big Ten championship game, and the loser out of that most likely is the 5 seed. And they have the pretty spot, right? We'll see about that. I'm geeked up for this, man. Honestly, before we go, let's talk about SEC bias now. SEC bias versus the Big Ten. And we have SEC with a tough strength of schedule. But I said it earlier, Bama, Georgia. Outside of those two, you mean to tell me Ole Miss versus Indiana? Honestly, just eyeballing it, that'll be a good game. Indiana has a good chance of beating Ole Miss in that 7-10 seed. That's all I'm saying, right? Same Ole Miss team that lost to Kentucky. Same Alabama team that lost to Vanderbilt, right? Same Alabama team that had a dogfight with South Florida. Same Ole Miss team that had a dogfight with a lot of teams so far this year. Same Texas team that barely beat Arkansas. So all this SEC bias, Georgia's that team. Georgia's only losses, okay, they got beat down by Ole Miss, but they had a close loss against Alabama. So when you say, well, the whole entire SEC is down, well, let's see these guys play other really good teams. And we'll see that in the playoffs. I don't want to hear about the SEC being God's football, college football country, and it all goes to SEC. And it's funny how SEC, they're always crying or politicking, right? Being politicians when the going gets tough. Well, they don't know the schedule that we play, and it's very, very tough. And yo, stop that. Let us talk for you, man. Let us talk. You guys always politic. I'm from Louisiana. I'm from SEC County, baby. Or parish. If we're in Louisiana, I'm in parish. But still, I'm tired of hearing that BS about SEC not getting no respect. Damn it. I don't care. Win your games. That's all that matters. Win your games. I get it. You don't want to be the 9 seed that's got to face the 8 seed on the road and then have to face the number 1 seed. Right now, that's Bama. Bama has a very tough spot. They have to go to Notre Dame right now. Now, mind you guys, this is all going to change after week 13. It's all going to change. So what you see right here, I guarantee you about 50% is going to be swapped around. I love it. I love it. I love it. My big takeaway is Georgia thinks getting screwed. That's the only SEC team I feel bad for. The rest of these guys can kick rocks. Honestly, they can. All right. Um, and then Georgia being screwed is my topic. Indiana's strength of schedule, they have been balling. They've been beating the crap out of teams. And look, they beat Michigan. Call it what you want. That defense still did a good job of stopping Michigan, right? Now they have the test against Ohio State. This will all even itself out. I promise you guys that it will all even itself out. And I'm here for all of it. I'm here for all the smoke. And my one thing is Texas and Miami ranked way too high in the standings. They haven't shown me anything at all with Miami and Texas. So we're going to find out about that as the weeks go ahead. But Miami's an AC, and they feel like they play every team to their level, right? Miami's got to overcome a lot, it seems like, every single game. They cannot win comfortable. And, of course, Texas hasn't beat anybody. We'll find out when they play A&M next week for Week 14. Ooh, it's going to be some good stuff, y'all. So that's it, y'all. Please hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Yo, let me know, how do you feel about Week 13's 12-team playoff bracket? Do you love it? Do you hate it? What's your gripes? What do you love about it? Let us know in the comments down below. And once again, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and come join UST Nation on our road to 3,000 subscribers, all sports fans. This is another episode of Uneducated Sports Talk. You guys know what time it is. I'm your host, Carlos Clayton. Stay smart. Stay uneducated. Peace. Love you, mama. Love you guys well. See you guys later on in life.